Liverpool have had a very interesting offseason, bringing in only Ibrahima Konate from Rebel Leipzig, which we knew was confirmed before the window, and also losing a star player in Gini Wijnaldum and the likes of Harry Wilson, a very young and brilliant talent. And they had a very interesting season last year, a lot of ups and lots of downs. Who knows what this year is going to be like, but we're going to jump into things straight away, guys, with my Liverpool preview of the season 21-22. I'm going to start off by talking about last year's season, then talk about some of the transfers and how their business is going, then move on to how I think they'll do next year, talk about my breakout player of the year, young player of the year, and player of the year, and then finish off with my season prediction. But guys, I'll jump straight into things and talk about how I think they fared last year. Liverpool were very interesting last year, obviously having that really rocky start, losing to Aston Villa 7-2, which was amazing to see for me as a United fan. I couldn't believe it, and everyone will say, well, we weren't our top squad. Well, you had Van Dijk, you had all your team out there, and Aston Villa tore Liverpool to bits, absolutely ruined them. And then a couple games later, they go play Everton, and Jordan Pickford says, let's go injured Virgil van Dijk today. And that was really this season-defining moment for Liverpool right there. Once Virgil van Dijk got injured, Liverpool are human. And I've been seeing clips of Virgil van Dijk in preseason, everyone making fun of him. He's been getting absolutely done in some games. But you got to look at it. He hasn't played football for something like 12. It's been a long time. It's been something like 10 months or something. And people are making fun of him for mistiming tackles. He won't be the same for a long time. He went through a horror show of an injury. I think it's been 8-9 months where he's been out. You can't blame the guy if he's going to miss a tackle, especially in preseason. But I do see he's going to be shaky. And I don't think we'll get the same Virgil van Dijk that we had when he was player of the year. So I do think Liverpool is still very vulnerable. And for me, Liverpool haven't done enough in the transfer window. But last year, Liverpool did manage to squeak into fourth place. They did somehow get Champions League football after a horrid run in the Premier League. Sorry, guys. But Liverpool just had many injuries last year, which really stunted how they played. But for me, a lot of Liverpool fans blamed injuries on why they didn't do so well or didn't manage to get so high in the league or didn't have such a good run or such a top level performance. But for me, I think you got to blame it on Jurgen Klopp. I think he's done a tremendous job, but he's got to learn to rest players. He's got to learn to play some depth. He's got to learn to change some things up. And I do blame the exact same thing on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But Jurgen Klopp, for many years, has played an extremely high-tempo football where you're always in the front foot, you're always pressing, you never stop, and the wingbacks are always bombing on, and you're always going 100% all game. You can't demand that from players 3 years in a row and the same players all the time. That is where I think he screwed up. He should have been using the likes of Sheridan Shaqiri. He should have been using everybody else he's had on his bench. He loves Divock Origi, but he should have been using everybody a lot more. I don't think injuries would have come as heavily as they have because he's ran guys to the ground, and I do think some of this is his fault to take. But Liverpool still did manage to get in the Champions League, so I do give it an okay season for them. But I don't think they're good champions as they were last year. We all know that was a big argument. For me, they were bad champions, but I don't want to dwell on that. I want to move on to their transfer business. Liverpool bringing in Ibrahima Konate, their only signing of the window, and that happened before the window even started. For me, Liverpool have had an abysmal transfer window. Only bringing in Ibrahima Konate, for me, who won't start for Liverpool unless unless there's an injury to Joe Gomez or Virgil van Dijk and he proves how good he actually is. But Ibrahima Konate is a guy who's been stricken with injuries, and throughout his career, he's always been injury stricken. So I just don't. I know he's a brilliant center back and brilliant center half, but they're complaining about injuries all last year and go out and get a top end center back who is still always stricken with injuries. So I just don't see how that works. It's going to be very interesting to see how Konate fares. And then the departures, for me, they didn't even break in much money, but they did get rid of a lot of players. Georgino Wijnaldum left on a free. That's huge for me. I still think he's a brilliant midfield, top in the world. And you're losing him in your midfield, which is a big loss. And PSG are gaining a gem, really, I think. Harry Wilson, people might play him down. I think he would have been brilliant to bring off the bench for Jurgen Klopp. But he's leaving to Fulham to get some first-team football. And he left for $14 million for me, which is extremely cheap and a bargain for Fulham. And they are probably going to love that, and that's probably going to help them get promoted. And Marco Grujic, I think he's a phenomenal midfielder, only losing him for around $1 million. And and that's on loan, but I think there is a buy option in there. I think he's a fantastic midfielder, and I think Porto got a deal. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens to this Liverpool side, guys. If I'm going to go out and say my breakout player of the year, someone who's not been a shining light for Liverpool, or someone who's not been a top end player for Liverpool, I'm going to go with Naby Keita. I feel like Naby Keita is going to have a great year. He probably isn't going to play all the time, but because you got the likes of Fabinho, Thiago, who knows how Thiago's going to play. He's been up and down. Curtis Jones, there's been talk about him maybe leaving. Jordan Henderson, talk about him leaving. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then James Milner. So you got a lot of aging players in there. Henderson, Milner, Ox, Thiago. And I think Keita's going to have a brilliant season. We've been waiting for him to have that breakout season, and I think this is the one. And I want to give out my young player of the year. This is one I'm very excited for. Is Harvey Elliot. I think he needs to get a lot of starts in the Premier League. I think he's earned it with his season last year for Blackburn. And I think he's just going to be phenomenal in the Premier League for Liverpool. And Jurgen Klopp needs to be bringing him off the bench quite a bit this season to show what he's got. And he is my young player of the year. My player of the year for Liverpool will be Mo Salah. Mohamed Salah, as a Manchester United fan, I obviously do not like him, but I like what he stands for. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he showed it year after year. Even last year, in a Liverpool team that was terrible, a Liverpool team that played awful, he still managed to score goals. He still managed to be up there in the top goal scorers in the league. And hands down to him, he's been brilliant year after year. Guys, it's getting a bit longer of a video, so I'm just going to give you guys my prediction for where I think they're going to finish. I got Liverpool finishing 4th in the league. I don't think they're going to finish any higher. I easily see them slipping into Europa League. I think Leicester could easily jump over them. For me, this is going to depend on injuries and who either team picks up going into this last little bit in the transfer window. Leicester City obviously need a center back with the likes of Wesley Fofana going down injured with a broken leg. So Leicester City need a top quality center back to play beside Soyuncu and Johnny Evans in their back three. Ozan Kabak is out there. I think Ozan Kabak would be a beautiful signing. And for me, I think that would elevate my prediction for Leicester City going to 4th. But I think Liverpool are going to finish 4th in the league and could easily slip down to 5th with injuries. And I just don't think this Liverpool team is the same we saw 2 years ago. And I really don't think they're going to be as great as a lot of people are predicting. I think a lot of people say, oh, look at Ibrahima Konate coming in, look at Virgil van Dijk coming back. I don't think those players are going to be as good as everyone thinks they're going to be. But guys, my young player of the year will be Harvey Elliott. My player of the year will be Mo Salah. And my prediction for where I think they're going to finish is going to be 4th place in the league and maybe 5th, depending on how the transfers go coming to the end of the season. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like, drop a sub. It means the world to me. And let me know what you guys think of my predictions and thoughts on Liverpool in the comments down below. See you guys for the next one, and peace.